Hey, what's up guys, this is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the newish Marvel Legends retro-carded Rogue figure, which is mostly the same as the last Rogue we got, just with different paints and a different head and some different hands. So it sounds like a lot different, but the body's almost exactly the same, which is interesting. There's some stuff to talk about there. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. Hey guys, real quick before we get into the video, I wanted to remind you guys that Into the AM is doing a sale. It started November 22nd, it's going through December 3rd. It's their Black Friday / Cyber Monday sale. These shirts, they're the ones I'm always talking about. They're amazing. They're on sale, so use the link in the description. Go get the shirts at a discounted price. I recommend these things even at full price. Don't get me wrong, they're amazing, but while they're on sale, you might as well take advantage of that opportunity. They do the bundle deal, so if you're really feeling like getting a bunch, you can get 3 shirts and you save some money, either the graphic tees or the plain tees. You can do the subscription service if you want. Saves you even more money. You get a shirt every month. You don't get to pick it, but it's cheaper. Plenty of options. They do have other things beyond just the graphic tees and the plain tees, but what I'm recommending to you guys is these kind of shirts right here, the graphic tees. They're amazing. They are the best graphic tees I've ever owned, and they are still on sale. I wanted to get that in there before the sale ended so that you guys could get them while they're cheaper. Why not save some money, spend that money on toys or something? But at least this way you get some cool shirts. So there it is. Check it out again. Link in the description below. It's Into the AM, and the sale ends on December 3rd. And this figure stands just about 6 1/4 inches, which makes it pretty close to, let's say, 16 centimeters. And before we get into the rest of the review, let's do a question of the day. Which version of Rogue is your favorite? Doesn't have to be figure-based, can be any version of Rogue. For me, has to be the 90s cartoon version. This is pretty close to that, so I'm pretty happy with it, personally. But from a review standpoint, we better get into it. So let's go ahead and talk about the aesthetic. This figure comes on a mostly molded yellow body, which is nice and matte finish. I love that. It gives it a very high-end feel. I don't know how well that's going to show up on camera, but it's not glossy at all for the yellow. I like that. They did make the green glossy, or at least semi-gloss, I'd say. It's about semi-gloss, and that looks pretty cool. I like that up against it. Multiple finishes is always nice. The last version of this Rogue had metallic green, and more of like an orangey yellow, slightly more red in the yellow, and it looked really good. I personally am partial to the metallic, but I do think the gloss works and the lighter yellow works, so that's fine with me. It's all very clean-ish. There are parts that are super clean. The chesticles, the paint up there, very nice. No issues with that black line work. No issues with the green to yellow transitions for most of her torso. Even her legs are not bad. I have one little smudge right there, but it's pretty clean. If you look on the back, the legs and the buttock, plural, I guess it's plural, right? It's all pretty clean. The curvy lines they fit the figure where they're supposed to be. They're not all over the place. They look good. And then we get down to the boot straps, which look like somebody closed their eyes and threw the paint bucket at the figure in order to get the paint on the figure. I don't know what's happening there, and I doubt anyone else does either. It's ridiculous. Now these are a separate piece, so that's why those look clean. These are not. This upper part is, the whole yellow thing is a separate piece from the leg, but these are just painted lines, and they are horrible. Now it's worth noting, a recent Rogue release, which wasn't the Jim Lee version, I think it might have been Jim Lee's other version of Rogue. Is that a thing? I don't know who came up with that version of Rogue with the dark green outfit. Anyway, she had these sculpted onto her legs, and apparently they just couldn't make that work for this figure, but it's very unfortunate to me that the Rogue that everybody wants has the crappy little boot thingies as opposed to the sculpted on pinless legs. So that's kind of a bummer, but what are you going to do? The belt is very clean. Let's get a close look at that. That X is wonderful. The X on her arm, also very nice. On this side, very nice. It's all good. The head is leagues better than the last head. There's a little bit of blush on her cheeks. The lips are painted well. The eyes are painted well. The eyebrows are painted well. Now you're going to think the hair is painted super well. Like that white looks good. The brown looks good. And that's because they're separate molded parts. Kudos to Hasbro for doing this. The green, the white, and the brown, all separate parts. Only thing we're missing is like a wash or some highlighting on the brown. Wash on here, highlighting or wash on here would be nice. But this transition is perfectly clean because it's 2 separate parts. And that's really good because painting that hair would have sucked to paint the whole brown part or to paint the whole white part. So as far as I'm concerned, that head is about as good as you can expect to get other than a wash or some shading highlights. Last thing I'll mention, I didn't mention it, is the collar. That's also very, very clean. So from an aesthetic perspective, other than more paint and shading and things like that, it's really good. For a Marvel Legends figure, this is about as much as we should expect, and I'm very pleased with it, and I think you guys will be. So I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 for the aesthetic. Yes, the boots could be cleaner. The rest is pretty darn good. I think it looks nice. Now, as far as accessories go, we're a little bit light on those. We have the 2 fist hands in the package, then we have the 1 ungloved hand and the 1 double gloved hand. Get it? Because she's holding a glove in a gloved. It was a good joke. So that's it for accessories. I think that's fine. Yeah, the touchy hand, maybe like a gripping hand. A gripping bare hand would have been good. It's not like they don't have gripping hands, so that would have been a cool thing to have. But even the touchy hand, that's fine. And the gloved hand, that's a cool, unique accessory, so I'm pleased. Nothing special though, so 7 out of 10. That's good. Like, that's reasonable. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about the articulation. Can the head move at all with all that hair? That's the question, and the answer is yes. A little bit. Now, this doesn't have the hinge in there. It's just the old fixed ball peg body. And that's it. Like, you're not getting much. Even rotations are somewhat limited. You can kind of flex that. But it's a very limited neck joint. Definitely could be better. It's acceptable. You'll be able to get most of it done. Most of the stuff you need to get done if it's just basic posing. But there's no way she's looking up. She's not really looking down. There's not a whole lot of variety there. Now, the shoulders, they work nicely. Better than horizontal by a lot. That's really good. You get your full rotation. There's no bicep swivel except for down here in the elbow with the single jointed elbow, but it works well enough. It's about 90-degree bend and you get the rotation. The wrists have a swivel and a hinge, of course. This figure's diaphragm joint does work really well. It's very, very nice. A second one down here would have been awesome, and that would give the figure all the posability in the torso you need. But as it is, this one works. It's as good of a single peg diaphragm joint as you're going to find, so I like that. Now, the hips do kick up really far. That's good. Remember the good old days when posability was a thing? They don't go back too far. They go out to the side better than 45. So this figure poses better than most Spider-Man figures in the hips. Thigh swivel is a thigh swivel. Double jointed knee works just fine. No issues there. This thing's going to be loose. This thing's going to flop around, but you should be able to deal with it. They even got it on the knee. I'm going to have to go in and clean this up. Good thing is it's just molded plastic here and here, so I should be able to clean up that extra green paint. Not too bad, either with a scrapey scrape or some cleaner. Ankles go all the way back and pretty far forward. That's about as good as I would expect. And you have a solid ankle rocker, so it's definitely a decent spread of articulation. It's basic. There's nothing impressive here except for the diaphragm joint, but it's going to be good enough. There's not much they could have done with the hair, so I think that's okay. I'm going to give it, for articulation, a 7 out of 10. It's fine. There's nothing really wrong with it, so I'll take it. Now it's time for the final verdict on this release. Is it the most perfect figure ever? Definitely not. Is it the best Rogue they've released? I think so. Is there a lot they need to change? Not really. You know, a little bit of dry brushing here and there would go a long way, but otherwise it's pretty good, short of some sloppy paint on the knees. So I'm very pleased with it. I think anybody who buys this will be too. Whether they were super into it or just getting it to fill in a spot, it's a strong release. So I'm going to give it a final rating of 8 out of 10. It's pretty darn good. Nothing super impressive, but it really ticks all the boxes, so that's a good thing. So there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, you can give it a thumbs down and let me know why in the comment section below. And if you haven't subscribed, you might want to. I have new videos almost every single day and thousands already on the channel, so make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.